All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes anywhere. My name is Judson Powell. All right. Yeah. Now this is I'm gonna kick back on my back into my patriotic thing again because I really I've been thinking a lot about what I said the other day, and I realized that there was a lot of stuff that I kind of I kind of left out on purpose. But I guess what I want to talk about now is um, being patriotic is one thing, and then being able to see the country move forward. Um, and one thing that I really always wanted to talk about was the fact that this is our country, and we have to look at it as patriots. We can't look at it as we're going to get someplace else or something like that. We don't have any land. Land is finite. All right, land is not infinite. It does not go on forever. It does not, there's not a whole bunch of it left. There's not whatever, but we should get reparations. Everybody, whether you were indigenous and you were abused or marginalized or whatever, and the same thing with people that are ADOS, American descendants of slaves. So no matter what, which is why I kept telling everybody, look, stop fighting each other about, oh, well, we're indigenous and we're this, that, and the other thing. The main thing is that everybody fight for the money because all of that stuff needs to be argued. The indigenous part and the slave ship part. And they tell people, oh, well, the slave ships didn't exist. Well, that's bull crap. And then I want to put this girl's name out there, Tara Roberts. Her name is Tara Roberts, and there was somebody online. I think it was day before yesterday, and but I searched that out myself, and that's the girl that is going around, and she's trying to find the wreckages of slave ships. Not to mention a lot of this stuff. I got several friends or whatever that research that stuff, but the thing about it is nobody, everybody wants to fight. Then nobody believes in DNA. But if you're in jail for murder and they free you and say that you didn't do it because the DNA proved you innocent, then y'all not mad about DNA in that situation, but y'all mad about DNA in every other situation, which is bull crap, right? It is. The DNA, and then so y'all don't like the parts about where they're talking about how West Africans have more have more brain power or whatever, and I forget the measurement what it's called, but they're talking about, I guess, is um, everybody else in the world has six of these chromosomes, but um, West Africans have nine. All right, and it has to do with your actual intelligence. So that's the one thing. Now, the next thing is that we got to come up with some common sense approaches, and I'm gonna keep talking about this stuff over and over again until everybody gets it, because like I was saying, we need free college education, we need universal health care, and we also need um, solar. We need solar and green energy power accessible to everybody um, in every aspect, in every part of life. And let me tell you why. It's not because it's like we're just trying to get a handout. The reason why I'm saying all of this stuff is because it actually has to do with our national security. If anybody remembers when the earthquake happened, or the several earthquakes happened in Puerto Rico, of course, back then when then President Trump said, or he acted like Puerto Rico wasn't even part of the United States from his comments, but Puerto Rico is part of the United States. But here's the thing: when all of their grid went down, all right, there was no way to get that grid back online, and they used solar in order to get that grid back online. Important, because that's a national security thing. If anything should happen to any of our electric grids or anything like that, see, they're not thinking like that. The other thing is, by having all of our children, even if it's no matter how many is 50 million, whatever, give our kids free education, because that is going to make us better on the world stage. That is going to make us a better player in the world stage. That is, and other countries already do that, especially when we have people that we know are exceptionally talented, and all they need is a push forward. Well, that also is going to do what? It's going to stimulate our economy. It's going to make our our way of life better, because obviously people with knowledge and wisdom walking around is better than walking around with a bunch of people that don't know. Like I said, other countries are already doing it, and we know that they do it in athletics. But we do it in athletics, but we don't do it in academia, which is stupid. Which is that's like one of the dumbest things. But it's because that the powers that be want to keep everybody dumbed down so that they can keep them working for damn near free. That's what it's all about. That has to go away. And the same thing with universal health care. Once again, cradle to the grave, everybody should have universal health care. If anything goes wrong with anybody, they should be able to get hooked up. And these insurance companies and everybody else, they making millions upon billions and upon trillions of dollars. And that shit is another thing. And I'm talking about for everybody. We're not just talking, these are basic, we're talking about basic human rights. That these things should be things that everybody should have. And we have enough money to make it happen. See, before, I used to be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't take the reparations because what'll happen. And I was patriotic then, because I was saying, well, maybe we shouldn't take the reparations because we don't want to wreck our economy or wreck our way of life, or anything to do with our financial system. But the way that the dollar is collapsing and everything else, they print money anyway. So print us some money. That's what That's the thing. It's like y'all print money anyway. The money is not backed by gold. It's not backed by silver. It's not backed by diamonds or anything like that. It's all just all willy nilly out there. And the Federal Reserve is not run by the federal government. It is a private corporation run by the oligarchy of the world, the people that control all of the stuff that's going on in the world, and who controls the financial markets and everything else. But that has to, and that's the thing. It's not going to harm. It's not going to harm them. Even if you gave everybody black in America $1 million, right? If you gave everybody in America $1 million, it's going to make the economy go. It's going to stimulate the economy, because people will have money. They'll be able to invest in, and that's the other thing. Anybody that wants a business, it's just like it's ridiculous. Even when I was going to school, it's ridiculous that I can go and I can run up hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans, to get my graduate degrees. And the bottom line is like, okay, so now I got all these loans, but how am I supposed to help how I'm supposed to help anything in the economy or help anybody else when, I'm stymied by the loans? And it shouldn't be. And like I said, at least give everybody an undergraduate, a bachelor's degree, bachelor of science, bachelor of arts degree. At least give everybody that, or give everybody some type of training, especially with green industries. For example, installing solar, installing battery systems in houses, installing windmills, installing all of these different things. And then they even have technology now where they can actually use solar panels to create water. All right. So basically, with all the green energy and all the green things that we have, all of the technology that we already have, we could set up, you know, grid systems all throughout the entire country. The other thing is, and all of this stuff with the racism and all of that stuff, that's not helping us out. And now I get that's why I keep on talking about how China was like, well, if the United States would stop going to war, they would be the most financially sound country in the entire world. But at this point, we're not. And the reason why we're not is because we're not being wise with what we have. So all of these, see, we got all of these guys out here, you know, and we got all of these young people, and young people want to go to school. A lot of young people want to go to school, but they can't afford it, and that should never be the case. Anybody that wants to go to school, or anybody that wants to go into a program, like I was just talking about, some kind of trade, that's another thing we stopped doing. We don't really have we don't really have trade schools like we had, or teach trades in high school like we used to. Teach people how to be plumbers, electricians, the things that we need, that have to exist. The other thing is, and the same thing with the stuff I was talking about with the robots. That's another thing. That whole robot thing, and the whole artificial intelligence thing. That's a whole nother ball game. So now, what's going to happen under that system? So if I got a McDonald's, just like I noticed they had those McDonald's, they got a couple of McDonald's that are completely 100% automated. But how is that supposed to work out? If nobody has jobs, nobody has money, then how do people pay for the stuff that the robots make? And so, even giving reparations to black people, giving reparations to Latino people, giving reparations to Native Americans, who, indigenous of this country, and all of those people who suffered. And look, let me tell you something. All of these marginalized groups have suffered at the hands of the United States government. I mean, come on now. Native Americans, and I remember I think it was like a Chris Rock joke, and he was just like talking about, he was like, you never see a Native American family. And like I said in another video, I've been on the reservations out here. I've been on the reservation several times, and it's deplorable. The conditions are deplorable in some of those places. All right, and I realize they have casinos and they have ways to make money and everything, but they're not. For some reason, I don't know, the money coming from the casinos is not trickling down to the common, everyday, ordinary, Native American folk, the indigenous people of this country. So we've got to also look and remember, even with this stuff about Mexico, and we got to come up with a solid immigration law. That's another thing. There's a lot of little minor things that we need to take care of, and we need to register people to vote, which is what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Because people, look, and I'll just touch on it a little bit right now. Okay, why is Ron DeSantis able to put forth and spew forth all of these racial policies, racist policies? I mean racial, but racist policies, and try to get all of these different racial things to get passed, and even messing with Disney World and the whole nine. And the reason why he's able to do it is because y'all not voting. The same thing in Texas, the same thing in Georgia, the same thing in Mississippi. Why do I know that? Because those are high density black areas. There are more black people in those states than there are white people. If all of y'all registered and voted, it's a wrap. And that's what the white nationalists are afraid of. That's the fear that's one of the fears that they have. The other fear is that we'll retaliate and do to them what they did to us. That's their other thing that they're worried about. But come on, it's like it's time to it's time to get that stuff up. And it's going to protect our interests around the world. I mean, racism is not good for anything. Anyway, fastest 15 minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but most of all, hit the love button. We'll see you next time. Bye. I love y'all.